Hey everybody, it's John and it's time for the JMART cast for Monday, January, is it 9th or 10th? 10th, Monday, January 10th. Thank you. Welcome to the show, friends and family. Speaking of family, I have two important guests today. I have my mom and my dad. First, welcome to the JMART cast, mom and dad.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for joining me. I just thought we would do a different kind of episode today. Instead of me complaining about the government, I could just interview my mom and dad, and they agreed to do so. So this will be a fun experiment. So first, we'll just start with everyone's names. So Mart, also known as, what's your name? First name?
My first name is Susanna and last name is Hayra, but I after my marriage I became Martirosyan.
Nice, very good. What about you, Dad?
So I am Armen Martirosyan.
And in Armenia, when like here in Canada, they have middle names, right? So for middle names in Armenia, it's different, right? You're not given a middle name. How does it work? Can you explain, Mom? Can you explain?
We don't get a middle name and uh, just one name.
Actually, instead of middle name, we have our father's name. So, for example, my first name will be Armen and father's name Vaniki Martirosyan. And for Susanna, it would be Susanna Hovanesi Hayrapetyan.
Thank you. So yeah, you take your father's name and then you conjugate the name to say of that name, right? So if I were to translate my name to English, I could say it's Hovanes or John of Armen, but in Armenian would be Armeni, and then my last name Martirosyan. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the way.
Okay, good. And then let's see, what year were you born, Ma? Can you? Is it okay for me to ask that? It's okay if you don't want to answer.
Sure, I don't mind at all. I born 1966, 29 of July actually, 1966.
And what about you, Dad?
And 1st of March 1963.
1963. That was the year of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember that. Like today.
Okay. What happened in 66? Was there any big major event in 66?
I don't know.
It's okay.
I was too small to remember.
Probably some Korean War or something. I don't know. All right. Ma, you have a pretty big family. How many siblings do you have?
I'm coming with from the big family. I have five sisters, including me. It's six of us in my family and six girls, six beautiful girls.
And Dad, you have a slightly smaller family. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
So we have a half of that. So I have one brother and one sister. So including me, will be three kids.
Hmm. And you're the youngest or middle?
I'm the youngest one.
What about you, Ma? Where do you stand in the six?
I am the fourth one in the family.
Fourth one in chronological order, but number one in all our hearts.
In your hearts, I'm sure.
Okay, and then you guys had a smaller family, just two kids. I guess one thing I wanted to ask you about was when I was born. That was the year '88, and was there the big earthquake that happened in Armenia? Was that the same year that I was born, or was it the following year?
That was the same year after you born. You born in September and December 7th. It was the
1988.
1988. It's happened the earthquake, and you were only 3 months old.
Hmm. And I remember you sometimes say that like you could feel the earthquake in Armenia, in Yerevan. So that we were in the city of Yerevan. It happened in a different city called Spitak. Is that right?
Dark, yeah. Gyumri, yeah.
So 120 kilometers away, another city called Spitak, translated to white, and that city was leveled basically from the earthquake, right?
Yeah, basically it was everything was down in town of Spitak, The second largest town was at that time it was called Leninakan. Now it's called Gyumri. Like all the high buildings and 4 5 story buildings were down.
Mhm.
Only the houses stays. And there is another third largest city, Kirovakan. Maybe 25% of Kirovakan was down.
Did you know anybody that died from there, from the earthquake?
Nobody from our relatives, even though I have relatives from my mom's side in that area, but nobody died. But for that time, so 3 days I was in Gyumri in Leninakan, and one day I was in Spitak, helping people to get their lovely ones, their relatives from the
The rubble.
rubble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was very bad experience, I would say. I don't want anybody to see or to feel that experience that I had.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad, seeing all the destruction, people losing their stuff, and then helping them get whatever little bit they could put together to and get to a safe place. I'm sure that would be pretty difficult. Hmm.
At the time when it's happened, the earthquake, I was giving you a bath. Like we could feel how the water is going up and down, and it's going right and left. So
Uh-huh.
that's how we find out that, like, it's earthquake.
The earthquake was happening. You
Yeah.
knew it was happening because as you were giving me a bath, you
Yes.
could feel the water shaking in the
Yes.
bathtub.
Yes, that's correct.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then before my brother Nadek was born, 4 years later, before that happened, then the Soviet Union collapsed. Right, that was in between the two of our births. And then, so can you describe the day? Do you remember, like, the day it was announced that you were going to be a Armenia was going to be a separate republic? What happened that day? Do you remember it all?
So it started much earlier, actually 1989, and then it continued all the way to 1991, and eventually our parliament decided we are not going to be part of Soviet Union anymore. We celebrated, but unfortunately after that started the war with Azerbaijan. So that freedom didn't last too long. That happiness
Yeah.
didn't last too long. And then it came like dark days, without light, without water, without heat. Anyway, another 4 or 5 years of without anything, basically. Yeah, standing long line up for the bread, and yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
many people they feel that. So I don't want to go back. Yeah.
Right. So there was a movement for many years, starting, like, I guess just slightly after I was born, for a breakup of the Soviet Union and independency between all the republics. And then uh, it all kind of started to precipitate in the early 90s. And I guess in 91 was when it was announced that we were a separate republic. And then immediately after that, there was disputed regions between Armenia and Azerbaijan. So the war started. And then in 92, my brother Nadek was born. And then in that time, we had to, I guess, go through a few years. When did the war end? 96?
95.
95. Okay. And
94 or 95?
94 or 95. Okay. We'll split the difference. 94, let's
Yeah.
say. And then, so 2 years after my brother was born, the war ended. And that was a favorable end to the war for Armenia at that time. Um, but even with that happening, there was energy shortages, right? Because you didn't have electricity available during the whole day, just special hours, right? Or there was
Yeah.
not electricity available, and you had to know somebody to get hook up a connection, something like
It's
that.
only 2 hours. Like during the day, it's within 24 hours. We got only 2 hours, and It could, it like there wasn't any schedule. It could be midnight, it could be in the morning. Like you have to prepare everything, you have to be ready when the electricity is coming. Within these 2 hours you have to do your laundry, your cooking, and you have to finish everything within these 2 hours.
Wow. Eh, yeah, I remember that we would have big bins that we would fill up with water,
Yes.
and then as soon as it would turn on, we would start filling up as much as we could until it stopped, I guess.
Yeah, until it stopped, exactly.
Okay, and then yeah, there was bread lines too, lines for gas, right?
There wasn't any gas at all.
There wasn't any gas at all. Okay.
There was a gas, we didn't have a car, we don't know.
Okay, but then when did we leave Armenia? We left in 97, 98?
97, yeah, 97.
97 we left, and we went to Ukraine in 97.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah, we were in Ukraine for 3 months. Then after 3 months, we went to Moscow and we stayed in Moscow for another 3 years until 2020 when we were granted our landed immigration status to Canada. And there you go. We are here. It's already
2000 or you said 2020?
no 2000. 2000.
Yeah, okay.
So it is already, so this year is gonna be like 22 years
Hmm.
since we are here in Canada,
It's a long time.
enjoying our life.
Yeah, no longer have to stand in line for bread and and have to and be ready for electricity to turn on at random times. So yeah, it's good. We we've come a long way, although there's some shortages happening in the grocery stores right now slowly. But it's not as bad, I guess.
I remember when we were in Canada after a couple years or 3 years.
After 1 year, there was
After 3 years, there was a blackout, and everybody was panicking. In maybe 24 hours, nobody had any electricity. Everybody was panicking, and it wasn't funny for us because
Well, we knew what to do, I guess.
yeah, exactly,
We weren't we were less panicking.
exactly. We were less panicking because we went through.
Yeah, I think that was 2004.
I can't remember
No.
exactly, but
2002.
Yeah, some early 2000s. Yeah, there was a big blackout. It affected all of like the Northeast, like Toronto, New York, everything. Let's see what else. So, but sometimes you have pretty good memories of the times you grew up in the Soviet Union, right? You like it's not like you weren't like repressed or anything in a major way while you lived there. Like you could still get the education you wanted and pursue like a career in something that you got the education in, right? So what you both got educated in university. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I finished. It's called Yerevan State University of Armenia. Applied mathematics, 5 year in 1985, and right after I started to work as a software engineer in Arm Electromash, big factory. And first day of my work, I met my lovely wife, and everything started from there.
Wow, nice. Excellent. That's great. Ma, how do you remember that? Was that as good for you?
no comment. I finished Yerevan Polytechnic Institute, and I was studying in the evening, and I was working in the morning. So that's how we met, and he started the work, and that's how we met. Our relationship became serious, and after maybe 2 years or a
2 years.
2 years, we got married,
Hmm.
and the rest is the
Yeah, and the rest is history. And 9 months after they got married, I was born.
Not 9 months.
Oh, sorry, it was 10 months. Let's get the facts right. Okay. And then, so when you were working your first job, you were working with computers, right, Dad? And it was like big computers that were like size of rooms, and you had punch cards for the computers, like the old style, basically. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, basically it was now we call it mainframe computer. So it was we call it ES system, and Susanna was working as an operator with these computers, and I could see like all these like big cylinders and the tape that she was changing and moving around up for back and forward, lots of running around and punching with these cards, everything. Yeah, that was interesting time to live, but still it was like same programming. Interesting job, I like it.
Okay. I like that you're taking my questions and just turning them about how you were just like watching my mom at work. I said talk about the
True, actually.
I said talk about the computers. It was like, yeah, I was watching her do the punch cards. What kind of work were you doing there at that time, Ma? Do you remember? Was it like administrative, or did you have to do besides administrative? Did you do any other computer programming?
No, I wasn't doing programming. I was working with programmers. I was getting some instructions from them. They were writing the program and they were asking me to implement. I was doing basically implementation, and
Oh,
this
cool.
is the type of job.
Wow. Okay. So it's kind of interesting because you're doing implementation
Yeah,
now
it
with
was
your
very
job.
interesting. Exactly. It was very interesting.
Okay. Cool. And like when, like, what did you think was happening when the, like, after I was born and there was a lot of, I guess, uh, talk around people like wanting to maybe separate from the Soviet Union. What was your thinking at the time? Were you thinking that that was the right thing for everybody to try to do, or like, did you think that like Armenia would be better off if they were separate from the Union as a separate country, or did you have like strong opinions at the time?
Uh, I think my strong opinion was Armenia. It's a separate country. That was my strong opinion, and it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was everybody's strong opinion to be separate from Soviet Union, to go on our way,
Hmm.
and yeah, and we did it.
Right. Right. But then, even though now it's like a separate country, they are very dependent in many ways on like Russia for maintaining their independence. So are they really independent if they have to depend on somebody to keep that independence? Right?
Right now, we are fighting for our independence. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's the main goal, and that's even though it's 22 years we are living outside of our country, but still we are living with our country.
Yeah. Yeah, Armenian people never forget their homeland. They're tied to it. I don't know, just in a strong way, more so than other places. Maybe, at least they like to say claim so. So there's nothing wrong with that. But is it reasonable to want to be independent if you can't control your border or like you defend the borders, right?
In the world there are so many like small countries, even smaller than Armenia and weaker than Armenia, still they have the independence, right? Why couldn't we?
Yeah.
It depends how we have our mind, set up our mind what is the independence for us,
Hmm.
because many people they don't they think differently.
Hmm.
So it doesn't matter who you are surrounded with,
Hmm.
and you can have a good relationship with everybody,
Hmm.
and you can build strong and independent country.
Hmm.
It's just a wish.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with that wish. But the neighbors of like Armenia right now are Turkey, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Iran. So that's four countries only one of those countries Armenia has a positive relationship with. They're surrounded by 3 countries with very negative relationships.
With Iran and Georgia, they have very good relationship. It's only Turkey and Azerbaijan, unfortunately, because in Azerbaijan, in Turkey, even in the kindergarten, they teach them like your enemy is Armenian.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem, unfortunately. Unlike in our country, we don't teach like that.
Why do you think they hate us so much? Why are there why are they teaching their children from like a young school age to grow up hating Armenian people? Is there any like reasonable answer to that question?
I don't know. They never teach us to kill Azerbaijani people, and even so, we never hate them. Unfortunately,
Diplomacy.
diplomacy. With good diplomacy, maybe it's gonna open the border because
Border were closed.
So the borders are closed currently, and you're hoping that with better communication and better diplomacy
opening Jana Parnena.
between the nations, we can open some trade or whatever and build better relations.
Only it's like everywhere. There are some maybe countries who doesn't want to have like peace everywhere. It is they want to have everywhere or in some places some like hot spots, so they can take advantage of these spots.
Yeah. So you feel like maybe Armenia is better for some other powerful countries to have a destabilized Armenia that can't be prosperous, because if they're destabilized and fighting their enemies are being enemies with their border mates, then they're easy to take advantage of by selling guns and influence.
Yeah, exactly.
So would you say that about Russia?
No comment.
Okay,
Yeah.
Mr. Putin, don't worry, we're not talking about you.
Anyway, so what can I say? It's,
Don't worry, we're in a free country. We can say what you want.
Yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious, but some people they have to see it and they have to say it out loud. Some people they see it, but they close their eyes and they say, "No, this is not the reason." And I don't know how to explain. For me, is peace in the world is gonna be best for everybody, But what can I say? Uh, Human greediness has no limits.
Yeah, I mean, greed is a good it's a strong motivator for sure. A lot of action gets taken through that emotion, through greed. But that's maybe that's a good thing. Maybe if you're greedy for yourself, then you can do better, more good for the world if you're greedy. Maybe that if it could be incentivized that way. Maybe, I don't know.
It depends how
You're greedy for yourself, but not behalf of the other people, right?
Yeah.
If it's behalf of the other people, then no, it's not gonna work.
Yeah. So greedy for yourself, not at the expense of other people.
At the expense, not behalf. Yes.
Yeah. If it's not at the expense of other people, it could be that you're, by being greedy for yourself, it's on behalf of other people, because you can make yourself as I don't know, strong or as potent at anything that you want to do as possible, and then use that to make the world around you better. Right?
Right.
100% agree.
Thanks, Mom. Yeah, that's why I've been talking to you guys a lot about Bitcoin recently, right? Is I'm trying to maybe explain to you guys how what Bitcoin's doing is it's trying to use the power of greed to use that as like a weapon to put everyone together, to unite everybody into one, because it's a free and open network for anybody to join, and if you join, there's usually some sort of benefit to you. So if you can be greedy for yourself, to like looking out for yourself, to to benefit yourself by joining the network. But in doing so, then you make the network stronger, you make it more resilient, and you make it better, and so everyone together benefits from doing that. I'm not sure if I've been able to like explain to you how exactly it turns out like that. But you guys are good parents and have been trusting me in my in my I don't know, explanation, and taking you through the journey. I don't know. Do you have any questions about it for me, for like Bitcoin, something you don't understand that you wanted to answer to?
Yeah, you try to actually, many people they try to explain. So I have some idea, I got some good ideas, but I just rely on your knowledge and the experience. And whenever you say it's time to buy, I just buy.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I've been telling you to buy low and sell high. No selling so far, only buying low. And there was the first or last year when it like went up to 65,000, and then it dropped down to 30. It like really scared you, right? Because it went like more than 50% drawdown.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah, and so that's been happening a lot. But then now that it went down more than 50% and went back up, so was it 65 down to 30? It went up all the way to 69, and now it's back down to 40. Are you less scared this time around now that you've seen the big volatility up and down, or is it still the same feeling of fear?
No, right now I can see the pattern. So how it is working, like going too much up and coming down, and making some adjustments. So I can see how this pattern is working. Now I'm more comfortable.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And then I guess the one thing about it is like you understand the concept of like there's only 21 million, so that if you have some portion of it, then that portion doesn't get diluted, and that's a major advantage over regular money, because that total amount of regular money is constantly being added to more and more and more and more. So the amount that you have is getting diluted, and you're unable to save. You understand that part of it, right?
Yeah, I understand. That's why I got into this game.
Okay, okay. And then so maybe it's the part, it's whether you trust that's an important rule. So how do we trust that that rule is maintained, right? Like, how do we know for sure that someday someone's not going to be like, well, now it's going to be 42 million, not 21? Like, is that something that you like worry about, like think about, question? Like, what is your main like worry that what if this is all fake? What if this is not real? What if it's all going to zero? What is your main worry about it? Like, how could it happen? Do you have something like that, or do you just generally worry that it could go to zero?
uh, that's why I have uh, diverse diversification
Diversification.
diversification. So one of first thing we learn in Canada, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So I'm playing little bit safe,
Yeah.
and I have from both sides, from saving for my retirement with the Bitcoin or with the banks as well. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Yeah.
my strategy. So if I lose, I don't lose everything. It's not possible to lose like all of them.
Yeah, and that's very smart, because you are, let's say, different from someone who's younger. You have a lower time horizon in terms of how far into the future you need to look out for. So because you have that lower time horizon, it makes a lot more sense for you to be diversified and make sure that if something happens to one portion of your portfolio, then it's only just a small portion and everything else is fine. That's very smart. Exactly. Yeah, you just have to know what the system is, and play within the system. Know the game, play
Yeah.
know the rules, and play within the rules. Yeah, the only thing you need to know right now in terms of finances is don't invest in bonds. Bonds are the worst money investment you could possibly do right now, like, because well, we've explained it many times, but
Yeah.
basically, basically, whatever amount, like whatever money you're paying, let's say a bond is similar to like a mortgage loan, right? Like whatever money you're paying, you're borrowing now for the loan is going to be a lot more valuable than what you pay near the end of the loan. So it makes a lot more sense to have the money now than and pay it later. So if you're paying it late, if you're getting it, if you're receiving it later, you're basically a sucker. Anyways, we did a half hour, so that's pretty much the regular length of of these episodes. So thank you very much for joining me. Is there any final thoughts you wanna say for this episode, for the first episode that you're on?
No, thank you very much for inviting us one of your broadcasts and having us as a guest, asking us questions. I hope you aren't that disappointed with our answers.
Not at all. Not at all. Mom?
I just want to say I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, man. Classic mom thing to say. I appreciate it. I'm very proud of you too. All right. Thanks everybody for joining me. If you want to reach out, you can hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram at jmartfit. Send me an email through newsletter at jmartfit.com. And be active, stay healthy, be grateful. J-Mart out.